So new PS6 game updates with the industry shifting to next generation, and Sony made a big change and a very interesting future to look forward to. We're going to dive into both of those stories today, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. First, yes or no, do you plan on getting the PlayStation 6 at launch in 2027 or not? We've heard the console could be launching by then, and I'm curious who's shifting over like myself day one. So comment below yes or no if you're getting a PlayStation 6 day one or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, Sony made a big change. So this story to me very much relates to the PlayStation 6, PlayStation 5, PSP3, and PC. Let me dive into the news first and then share my thoughts on this and how everything connects afterwards. Reading from Push Square, Sony has gone through a series of leadership changes of late, with hardware bigwig Hideki Nishino promoted to PlayStation CEO and temporary boss Hiroki Totoki taking the top job at the Japanese giant overall. Ex-SIE exec Lin Tao has also been given a seat at the big table, assuming the role of chief financial officer, and in her first earnings call in the role, she acknowledged some changes that have taken place within the company since the executive reshuffle. Selling units was the focus, but now we are focused on monthly active users. She said of the firm's gaming division, the management is focused on engagement and MAU. This is leading to profitability. Sony's gradually been growing its MAU for years now, with more and more people playing on PlayStation than ever before. Over the holidays, it peaked at over 129 million players, and while that number slumped slightly to 124 million during the most recent quarter, it's still up year over year. Gaming is no longer a one-and-done proposition, with many titles like Fortnite, Roblox, and Genshin Impact encouraging spending over time. Sony is making more and more than ever from microtransactions, and so its philosophy here is simple. More people playing means more people paying. Engagement also allows it to upsell customers on pricey PlayStation Plus subscriptions, controllers, and other accessories. In other words, while getting consoles into players' homes is still important, it's just the beginning of each customer's journey. Tao was a little unclear about how the company intends to increase MAU moving forward, but she pointed out that the PlayStation 5's install base will continue to grow, with many of the users being new to the ecosystem. She also noted that unlike in past generations, many consumers have stuck with the PlayStation 4, which contributes to the active users as well. Presumably, porting games to the PC and even creating movies and television shows that increase awareness of PlayStation's brands will also help with its ambitions. So going forward, it's looking like Sony's focus is players, which is something Microsoft has been focused on as well. For Sony, it's about their ecosystem now as opposed to just one box, and to me, that doesn't mean they're going to follow suit with Microsoft in everything that they're doing. To me, that means they're trying to get as many people as possible into their ecosystem, which moving forward is not just going to be one box. Looking at this era of gaming, this is the first time Sony's had to deal with such a strong last generation base of players. I still have people who ask me to this day if certain games are still going to be coming to PlayStation 4. 5 years into the PlayStation 4 era, for example, I never had someone ask, is God of War 2018 coming to the PlayStation 3? No, that never happened. I never saw that. And Sony is acknowledging this now with the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. People say that the PlayStation 6 launching in 2027 is too early. As you guys already know, I don't agree with that. 7 years in, that makes sense. But I can understand why people feel that way, especially with how the generation has gone and cross-generation and all of that. But I think people need to realize that the PlayStation 6 is just going to be another box in Sony's ecosystem. It seems like they're taking the Apple approach where their previous products are entry points into their ecosystem. So for example, say in 2029, you get a PlayStation 5 for $250, hopefully, and it's not more than that. And that gets you into the Sony ecosystem, the PlayStation ecosystem, that will potentially shift you over to getting a PlayStation 6 or their handheld, or of course, getting you into microtransactions, online subscriptions, and all of that stuff that Sony wants to push on people. You also have the PlayStation Portable 3 or PS Vita 2, but again, whatever you want to call this, listing. This will be another way Sony tries to get players into their ecosystem, people who want that handheld personal experience and don't care about the home console. You see this on PC, people who want to get the Steam Deck, or even people who don't really play on PC get a Steam Deck to try to play some of those PC games. This will potentially get people who are not mainly PlayStation players to get a handheld to play those PlayStation games day one potentially. And then you also have PC, which will include online games that launch their day one from PlayStation, and of course PlayStation single player games that drop there years later. This is their ecosystem in a few years: PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, PlayStation 6, PlayStation Portable 3, and PC. I actually might throw in the Portal in there as well, since you can just get PlayStation Plus Premium and just play that way. So maybe that's a cloud set of gamers that just want to get in to play those games on cloud, and they don't mind the slight latency. It's no longer just a focus on one box. This is what I'm seeing. And if you're enjoying the video so far, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community on our way to 150,000 subscribers. Now diving into the second story of the video, new PlayStation 6 game updates. There are two stories here, two games I want to cover, so let's dive into the first one. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, the first PlayStation 6 console exclusive game is all but confirmed, if a statement by its developers anything to go by. Although we didn't expect Kojima Productions Physint to not target the PlayStation 6, it was widely assumed that the game would be a PlayStation 5, PlayStation 6 cross-gen title. However, that might not be the case after all. Hideo Kojima recently gave an interview to a French magazine in which he confirmed that Physint will take at least 5 years, if not more. That means the game won't be launching anytime before 2030 at the earliest. I've had so many offers since I left Konami with serious conditions to develop games in my independent studio, Kojima said, translation via Reset Era. Besides Death Stranding 2, there's also Physint in development that will take me another 5 or 6 years. Something tells us that if Physint goes beyond 2030, the chances of a PlayStation 5 launch might just be very slim, depending on how demanding the game is. Worth pointing out that when Physint was announced, a lot of emphasis was placed on advanced technology. I cannot tell you so much now, but we plan to bring together cutting-edge technology and talent from around the world to create it, Kojima said of the next-generation action espionage game at January's 2024 PlayStation State of Play. So considering Kojima plans to go into production with Physint later this year, I guess he might get a PlayStation 6 dev kit late next year so they can just focus on the PlayStation 6 development, considering they might be launching this game 3 to 4 years into the PlayStation 6 era. The PlayStation 5 will still be getting titles by then, and Physint could launch on it unless Kojima really needs the tech that's inside the PlayStation 6 to execute his vision. Let's see how that goes, but beyond that, we also have Bluepoint's next game. A job listing is up for a principal graphics engineer that states the principal graphics engineer position is responsible for building out exciting rendering systems and features in the Bluepoint engine to bring our team's vision to life. So it looks like Bluepoint Games might be gearing up for their next project, which I assume will be a PlayStation 6, PlayStation 5 cross-generational title. I honestly hope it's a remake so the development time isn't long and they can just get something out there in the next few years, as opposed to something that won't drop until 2030, for example. They're so great with remakes and remasters that I hope they go down that route. There are so many great Sony IPs they can bring back to life, like they did with Demon Souls. But the studio clearly wants to make something original, so let's see how that goes. But you guys let me know if you're excited for what Bluepoint has coming next or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is the body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with it is time for the show. It's almost nearing the end of the month, and I genuinely hope Sony has a showcase or something big to show off their first party titles. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same way. Again, I don't care if it's called State of Play or Showcase, as long as first party titles show up and they give us updates, gameplay updates, and potential release dates. That's all I really care about. But if that's what you guys care about as well, destroy the comment section with "It is time for the show," and I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do, because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.